Okay, so get this. Today, we're diving into something that's really got me thinking. It's about how our basic needs, those things Maslow talked about, like
Yeah.
needing food and water and
That
shelter.
hierarchy of needs.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
So how are those needs changing now that we're living in this crazy digital age?
Yeah.
It's wild, right? Because, like, Maslow was writing, what, like almost a century ago? And obviously things have changed a lot since then. I mean, think about it. Could he have even imagined a world where, like, having internet access is almost as important as having a place to live?
Mm.
And that's actually what our source material for this deep dive is all about. They're making this pretty bold statement, saying that maybe, just maybe, internet access and social media are becoming like those fundamental needs that we can't live without.
Well, I mean, when you think about it, our world today is so incredibly connected, it's kind of hard to argue with that. Think about it. We rely on the internet for pretty much everything, don't we?
I know, it's scary. Like our jobs, how we communicate with each other, even getting information.
Yeah.
It's all online. So is it really that far-fetched to say that, in a way, the internet has become like a basic necessity for just like functioning in modern society?
Yeah.
And it's not just theoretical either. Our sources actually have these like really striking examples of how people are actually prioritizing internet access, sometimes even over things like food.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'd be interested to hear about those.
Like there are stories of people like choosing to pay for their data plan instead of buying groceries.
Oh, wow.
Or, people who are like desperately searching for Wi-Fi hotspots when they literally don't even have a roof over their heads.
Oh, wow. That's pretty powerful stuff.
It is, right. What do you make of that?
It really does make you think that maybe our needs, like how we rank them, are actually changing right in front of our eyes. It's like Maslow's pyramid is getting like a digital makeover.
It really is.
It reminds me of something called digital deserts. Have you ever heard of those?
No, I don't think so.
So these are areas, sometimes even whole communities, that have very little or even no internet access at all. And there's a ton of research now that shows how people living in these digital deserts are at a huge disadvantage. Like their chances of finding a decent job or getting a good education,
Yeah.
way lower. And even their health care can suffer because of it.
Right, because so much healthcare stuff is online now too.
Exactly. And it's like this vicious cycle, you know?
Yeah.
They can't get ahead because they don't have internet, but then because they can't get ahead, they can't afford internet. It's really tough.
That's really, really interesting. And it's like a perfect illustration of how this whole digital thing is shaking up the very foundation of that needs pyramid.
Yeah.
But I think it goes even deeper than just our practical needs.
How so?
Because social media, all those platforms we use to connect, they seem to be getting tangled up with the higher needs on Maslow's pyramid too.
Yeah.
Like our need to belong, to feel accepted,
Oh.
even our self-esteem.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, for so many people nowadays, social media is like their main way to connect with others, find people who share their interests, and even like build their sense of
It's
self.
like their whole community, right?
Exactly. It's where they tell their stories, show the world who they are, and like try to make their mark. It can be really powerful.
But like there's got to be a downside to all that, right?
Oh, for sure. There always is.
Our sources talk a lot about the potential risks of too much social media. Things like social isolation and feeling like you're never good enough because you're constantly comparing yourself to other people online.
Yeah.
And then there's that whole pressure to like create this perfect online persona, even if it doesn't really match up with who you are in real life.
Yeah, it can be really tough to navigate all of that.
It can almost be like social media is doing this weird double duty. Like, on the one hand, it helps us satisfy those needs for belonging and esteem. But on the other hand, it can also make those same needs feel way harder to reach.
Yeah, it's complicated for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But even with all that said, I think there's something really important to remember. Like, even though the internet has become this huge part of our lives, and even though it can influence our needs in all these crazy ways, it's still essential to recognize those basic physiological needs, the ones at the bottom of Maslow's pyramid.
Oh, absolutely.
Those needs for food, water, and shelter. Those are non-negotiables. Like, no matter how important the internet is, we can't just forget about the things that literally keep us alive.
That's right. We can't escape our biology.
Right, exactly. It's like the internet can change how we prioritize our needs and maybe even how we go about meeting those needs, but it can't erase them completely.
Yeah, it's more like they're all influencing each other, The digital and the physical, they're all mixed up.
Exactly. It's like this big complex dance between our online lives and our offline lives.
And you know what's really interesting? Maslow himself actually talked about how his hierarchy wasn't meant to be like this rigid thing set in stone.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He said that the order of those needs could change depending on like individual circumstances and the culture you live in. And I think the digital age is a perfect example of that, you know? It's showing us how those needs can be rearranged and redefined.
It makes you really wonder, though, like, if you had to choose just one, what would you consider your most basic need in the world today?
Ooh, good question.
Has technology changed your personal hierarchy at all? Because I gotta say, it's definitely given me a lot to think about.
Me too.
Yeah,
Lots to chew on.
it really is. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
Thanks for having me.
It's been really, really interesting.
It has.
And for everyone listening, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Hit us up on social media and tell us, what do you think is your most basic need in this digital world we're living in? Until next time.
CR?